and welcome to today's episode of This Organized Life podcast. I am your host, Lori Palau, and I'm coming to you solo today. I'm actually recording this over our Christmas break and releasing this episode, if you're listening to it in real time, in the first week of January. And so I am sporting, if you're watching on YouTube, some of my favorite Christmas gifts, my Beth Dutton Yellowstone hat, shout out to Yellowstone, and some of my new favorite earrings from my partner in crime, Gail Waterman. So hope you guys all had a great and restful Christmas. Wanted to kick off the new year with talking about something that is obviously one of the big hot buttons always, which is goal planning, goal setting. Some people refer to them as resolutions. Some people think of it as intentions. Some people think of it as goals. But it's basically, I define it anyway, anytime you're setting some sort of plan in motion that you want to achieve, right? And your goals could be related to healthy eating, or it could be towards exercise, or it could be towards organizing and decluttering, or maybe it's a professional goal with your career, or maybe it's a personal goal with like marriage and relationships or parenting, whatever it is. And there's this huge, I was thinking about in preparation for this episode, because every year I try to do some sort of kind of goal planning, goal setting episode. And I wanted to take a slightly different approach and spin to it, because I think there's so much content out there that's talking about different ways that you can goal plan, different things that you can do. But what I have spent the past 6-8 months really working on behind the scenes is about coupling up what your goals are, whatever that is, with the strategy and the plan of action to get there. Because what I find is I was looking back at my own goals that I set for myself every year. And I do some goals annually, like here's a big goal that I want to do for the year. And then I have like smaller benchmark goals that might be, this is something I want to do within the next month, or for this quarter of the business, or whatever it is. So I kind of look at it, and then what I normally do is I write down my goals and then I just go about my life. Right. So tell me if you can relate to this. You write down your goals and then you go about your life. And then you come back a month later, 3 months later, 6 months later, whatever, and you look and you go, did I achieve it? So raise your hand if you can relate to that. And what I realized is I'm not really setting an intention and a plan with it. I'm setting like, this is what I hope is going to happen. This is what I would like to happen. But what I seem to be missing is that intentional strategy of how I'm going to get there. Like literally, how am I going to get from point A to point B? So, and a lot of us are that, or a lot of people out there, I shouldn't say us, because I'm more of a planner than a wing it, fly by the seat of your pants person. But even people like myself who are list makers and planners seem to be missing this one kind of key component. And I realized it in hindsight, when I would look back and go, oh, well, my goal was to get more clients, or my goal was to write a book, or my goal was to whatever that fill in the blank is. And it was like, did I do it or didn't I do it? And it was like, you check yes or you check no. And that really is kind of empty. I think that's the best word, is it was leaving me feeling empty of like, either, yes, I am hitting my goals, or no, I'm not. But it didn't give me what I like so much, and I talk about so much on the show, is the data. Well, if you didn't get there, well, why didn't you? Right. And I don't mean that from a shaming, like, why didn't you do this? But what were the roadblocks that stood in the way of you achieving this goal? Did something happen? Did you not hit your financial goals because of a pandemic, or did you exceed your goals because of a pandemic? What happened? Did something happen in your life? Or were you distracted, where your priorities shifted in a different area? And so without having that clear data to look back on, it was hard for me to do projections and really kind of say, well, this worked and this didn't. So for 2022, I'm taking a completely different approach to goal planning and goal setting. And I created a download that you guys can go. I'm going to link it in the show notes. It's also, I believe if you're listening to this in real time, it is on the homepage of my website, Simply Be Organized. But if not, it's definitely going to be in the show notes. And what I like about this particular goal planning sheet versus other ones that I've done in the past is it looks at three distinct areas. The goal, which is what I'm calling the what, right? The what is it? What is your goal? Your goal is to consume less stuff, right? Like bring in less stuff into my house, like, not shop it. So that would be kind of your what, that's your goal. Then the next important part, and this is something, and I want to use this not just for personal reasons, but this is something that we did on our company retreat because I want people to do this in their business, especially if you're a small business owner, thinking about the why in addition to the what. So I want to do this because whatever. So actually, I'm going to use a different example. I'm going to do a professional example because we use this on our company retreat. Okay. So forget that last one. Your what is, I want to gain 10,000 followers on Instagram. Okay. That's your what, or that's your goal, right? That's your what. Now the question is why. That's really the thing. So you have the first thing is the what, then you have the why. Why do I want that? Do you want that because you want social cred? Are you being honest? Are you somebody that likes validation? Do you want to be able to use this as leverage to go out to brands to try to become an influencer? So you have to think about why you want to do this, right? So what is your why? Because you're going to always want to come back when we are struggling with reaching our goals. Coming back to our why is really, really important. And that applies to anything. If you are trying to lose weight, if you are trying to declutter your house, if you're trying to stop smoking, whatever it is, coming back to your why is always really important when times get tough. When things are going great, we don't often need to necessarily come back to that why. But as soon as we hit a roadblock or a setback or something happens, coming back to that why is a crucial piece. Okay. So knowing your why, and be honest with yourself. There's no reason, depending on whatever your goal is, whether it's something that is you're changing the world or something that you feel is just like something personal and maybe somewhat superficial or whatever you think it is, it doesn't matter. It's your goal. So your goal is important to you for whatever reason, and that's nobody's business. So that's your goal. And why is that important to you? Okay. So in my goal planning sheet, there's the top bar, what, the goal, why is this important to you? Okay. Now, here's the third really critical piece. Okay. How? This is the action steps, the action plan. What am I going to do? That's the action. What am I going to do to make this happen? How am I going to tactically execute this to help me get closer to my goal? Because wishing it, wanting it, even just straight up praying on it, and people, I'm all about prayer and faith, but that is not going to just make it happen in and of itself. You have to do the work. You have to roll up your sleeves. You have to do the work, whatever that is, whether that's decluttering, whether that's not putting that cookie in your mouth, whether that's forcing yourself to get on that treadmill or go to the gym or go outside for a walk, whether that's, budgeting or whatever that is. And if your goal from a professional standpoint is to grow your business and maybe you want to grow followers, then you need to be consistently posting on social media, right? So you have to have your action steps of how you're going to get there. Okay. So then it's the how, and that is the tactical part of your goal. How am I going to get there? If I want to make more money, that means I need to either raise my prices or I need to see more clients. If I want to yell less at my kids, I need to wake up a little earlier and do a little bit more proactive planning, or maybe I need to pray and meditate more, or whatever the fill in the blank is for you. You have to figure out what's the strategy, what are the steps that you're going to use to help you get there. And then the fourth part, right? So we have the what is the goal, the why is this important to you, the how is the action steps that you're going to do, being very specific. And then the fourth part is going to be the when, and that is your timeline. So setting those goals and giving you incremental benchmarks to work towards is going to help you along the way. So that'll allow you to take steps to say, okay, let me reflect on this in a week, in a month, in whatever, depending on what the goals are, and say, okay, so I'm doing A, B, and C, like I said I am. Is that working? And then you can evaluate it and say, yes, this is working. I'm going to keep doing it. Or no, this isn't working. And then that's the tricky part to go, well, have I not given it enough time? Because transformation is a process. Or do I need to make some tweaks along the way? A lot of times people will abandon and just jump ship really, really quickly when it comes to goals if they don't see immediate results. I've been guilty of this myself, especially when it comes to weight loss or exercise, where I'm like, I'm not seeing those results, so I guess it's not working. See you, bye. And I go and shove, a piece of chocolate down my throat. So obviously things take time, and not everything is going to be immediate. So I think it's having these really honest conversations of, do I just need to give this more time, or do I need to make some incremental changes to the plan to set me in motion? And so I've been doing this with my own business more on the professional side than the personal side, but I intentionally designed this with a broad enough stroke so that you can apply it for either. Because so many of our listeners and followers are people that are obviously working, to better their homes and their family lives and be the best version of themselves on a personal basis. But we also have a large portion of people who are entrepreneurs, specifically women entrepreneurs. And I like this particular sheet because it's very simple. It's very common sense. It doesn't really require a lot. You don't have to buy a whole, and this isn't knocking anybody, but you don't have to buy a fancy planner or do anything like that. If you want that, great. If that makes you feel more motivated because you have this like nice, binder or whatever to start off the new year, then Godspeed. That's awesome. But if you are just like, I really want something that I can just have simple, practical, I can keep it with me, I can make it digital, I can print it out and post it right where I can see it every day or whatever, this is the thing that you want to check out. So again, I want to just quickly go over it. So here we have our goals. What is the goal? Oh, and the other thing is, I like to break down different goals, like a different goal sheet for each goal. So you have maybe parenting goals, and maybe you have a goal for your marriage, and maybe you have a goal for your finances, and maybe you have a goal professionally, and maybe you have a goal spiritually. So the beauty of this is you could take this down and replicate it as many times as you want, and with different goals in mind. And not every goal has to be something super like large and over the top. It could be something really small. It could be, I want to read 30 minutes a day. Or it could be something like, I want to read, 10 books a month. And then you're going to obviously adjust your how accordingly. How are you going to get there? So if you're going to set a lofty goal, you're going to have probably more steps, more intentionality, and more accountability to yourself and maybe to somebody else to help make that happen. But again, you have your you have your goal, which is your what. You have your why. Why is this important to me? This is what you come back to when you're like, oh, I don't feel like exercising. And you go, but yes, the doctor told me I have high cholesterol, and the more exercise I do, the better off I am. Okay. Or I don't feel like doing the dishes. But you know what? When you wake up in the morning and you come downstairs to a sink of dirty dishes, you know that that sets the tone for the day. And so just coming back to that why is so, so, so important. I always come back to the why. And then, of course, you need that how. How am I going to do this? How is this going to, how's it going to happen? Am I going to open the mail every day when I come home? Before I take off my coat, I open the mail and throw the stuff in the recycling bin. Or before I go to bed every night, I run the dishwasher. Or before I leave for work, I put a little laundry in. Whatever it is. And then you have your steps along the way. And then you have a timeline of when is this going to be accomplished by? Again, if it's something that you're setting I'd like to have my garage decluttered by X amount of time. I'd like to, I don't know, whatever it is, be out of debt by a certain amount of time. All of these different goals are all strategy for living an organized life. And I tell that to people all the time because they're like, you know what? I don't really struggle with organization, but I struggle with X. And all of it ties back to the physical and the emotional and the calendar clutter that weighs in on each one of us. And trying to keep that at like a baseline is really, really important. So whether you're somebody that's like, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, or I don't like to set goals because I never achieve them, I really am encouraging everybody to check out this new approach or my new approach. I don't know if it's new, but my new approach to goal setting and planning, because I know that it's been really, eye-opening for me to be able to see and track my progress in, like I said, a very simple, common sense approach, but with a very clear strategy. So let me know how you make out. Shoot us a note you could DM us at Simply Be Organized. You could leave us a comment on YouTube. Send us an email, info@simplybeorganized, whatever. We want to hear from you. Post pictures. Also, we're in our Facebook group, This Organized Life Podcast. So let us know. I want to see your goals, track your progress, tag us, do whatever it is. And that's it. I really hope that you guys are off to a healthy and prosperous 2022. And if you're new to our show, welcome. We are here every single week. We've got a huge back catalog. We are on YouTube. We are on every podcast platform you can imagine. And our parent company is simplybeorganized.com. So check us out there for all kinds of free resources. And until next week, I am Lori Palau. Peace out.